Hello, I'm meteorologist Gary Lezak with Weather 2020. Oh my, some of you have been following the LRC for 25 years now. All right, and I know you know what's coming. We're 4 weeks away from the new LRC. The pattern that we've been experiencing for the past year still exists, the one we're in now, and I'm going to clearly show that to you. But something brand new happens in 4 weeks, and it's going to be exciting. And I am ready for the change. I don't know about you. It's been frustrating for some of us. All right, let's go take a look at this. As you can see here, still summer tracking the LRC as fall approaches. Order in chaos. It's not chaos in that river there above us. It's completely ordered. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. There are 2 weeks left in summer. 2 weeks. All right, so a lot of your corn and soybeans have been lush and doing fantastic. Let me know how it has been going. There's been a few areas that may have lost their soybeans because it stopped raining in a couple spots. So let me know how that's going for you. I hope that you've come through with a good season. It's been reported as pretty good. Rain and thunderstorms over Kansas the last couple of days. The sun has been out in others, and get ready for that fall change. All right. 500 millibar flow. This is the flow. Let me take this full screen so you can see. I think this full. And this is the flow at 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere. The main jet stream is way up here in northern Canada. This is the forecast for next week on Tuesday. So what's going to happen in the next 4 to 5 weeks? The jet stream's going to dip, and I believe next week at this time we'll be talking about a big change we're starting to see. Right now, the jet stream's to the north. We're seeing subtle changes. And right in here, you see this 588 line right here? There's a ridge extending over Ohio into the Great Lakes and then back down. This is a big ridge. So heat and humidity are going to be building one more time, showing us that it's still summer. There's also a possible tropical system off the southeast coast, and the jet stream is dipping over the Pacific. We are in phase 2 of this year's cycling pattern. That has been wetter up here in the northern plains and drier through the southern plains. We're going to go into phase 1 of the cycling pattern, and remember, we've been predicting using the LRC model a very wet pattern at the end of September. So let's see if it materializes before the new LRC sets up. What has happened this summer? For the last almost full 3 months, it's been cooler than average from the Dakotas and North Dakota down into Texas, and hotter than average in the Pacific Northwest. Rainfall-wise, near or above average rainfall over most of the plains. The only dry area, really, Illinois, Indiana, and especially Missouri, southern Illinois, and Kentucky, this area dried out a little bit. But you can see most areas have had adequate moisture. The only major flood, this one right here, it was a deadly, horrible disaster in the Guadalupe River. All right, we are now in the 9th cycle of this year's weather pattern. The 9th and final cycle. There will not be a 10th cycle. Next month, we'll begin cycle 1 of the 2025-2026 pattern. What you're looking at here is 18,000 feet up. This is the flow. The wind blows parallel to the lines at about 18,000 feet up. It's halfway through the atmosphere in weight, 500 millibar level, 500 millibars. That's about top of the atmosphere is 0 millibars, so there's no weight. The surface is about 1,000 millibars, so that's why 500 millibars is right down the middle. And you can see a little system off the west coast. This is how we're going to tell that the pattern is still the same now, even though it may begin to evolve soon. This is a low on October 11th. This year's pattern has been cycling 38 to 44 days, about 41 days. Now watch. Here's cycle 2. There's a low off the west coast. Cycle 3, January 3rd, 2 days before the blizzard. Remember that, because yesterday, remember this big storm that was in Kansas yesterday? It may be related to the Kansas City blizzard. But see that low? There's January 3rd in cycle 3. Cycle 4, 41 days later. Cycle 5, March 27th. Cycle 6, May 3rd. Cycle 7. The low's a little farther north as the jet stream's retreating and summer begins. Cycle 8 looks similar to that June version. Cycle 9, 2 days ago, there's our upper low. But look, let's go back 331 days ago, or about a 41.3 day cycle. There it is. You see that? Look at it. You can't make that up. It's the same but different. Tornadoes have happened in each cycle as this part of the pattern is cycled through. Here's early October in cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3 with a big outbreak in December, cycle 4, cycle 5, a deadly outbreak March 14th, 15th, 16th, cycle 6, 7, 8, and 9. All 9 cycles. In fact, most of the tornadoes, this segment of the pattern produced a lot of the tornadoes across the entire world. This happened to be here. Amazing. So just think that's pretty cool to show you the cycle as well. So we have this way to show you, but then we get results. And remember, what happens with these tornadoes, by February, we're predicting that they will happen at these intervals, and we're telling you when and where they're going to happen. So that's another proof of the LRC. But we're not perfect. We're far from perfect. I want to be perfect. I know I've raised the bar high in accuracy. However, if you look closely, this is what the Hurricane Center predicted last week, a 90% probability that there would be a tropical storm. It's one we had predicted months ago that would come right into this location. This is where we thought it would be, all right? But we were wrong. We were wrong. Did you hear me? I actually said I was wrong about something, okay? Because watch what happened. The National Hurricane Center had a 90% probability. 2 days later, it was gone. So it was a very difficult thing. Why are the tropics quiet? Well, there's been this persistent dust, and we'll have to do some analysis to see if it's more predictable using the LRC. I have not studied this at all. Let me just tell you, and I will be studying this year. The dust has been consistently flowing off and going across the Atlantic Ocean, limiting the potential for hurricane activity. That's one of the reasons. There's probably other reasons, but I'm not making excuses, but there may be a way to know that this was going to happen, and I wouldn't have been so aggressive on our forecast. But the Saharan dust, there's Africa. Very interesting. Could be the cause. All right, let's get back to our forecast. Very interesting. The GFS, or American model, is showing less than 1 inch of rain in many areas for the next 15 days. I think it's not picking up on the changing pattern for the going back into phase 1 of this year's LRC. By the 24th, it should have changed and should be getting wetter. The European model might be picking up on it. At the end, it has a whole bunch of rain, widespread 2 to 4 inches of rain. So keep this in mind for harvest. I'm expecting something like this. I usually don't go with the European model, but our model has been saying that. The last week of September, the first week of October should be wet, and it's starting to show up on the European model. Wet days above this line, dry days below this line, this blue line right here. This is straight from our LRC model, and you can have this tool. If you want it, it's not that expensive. It does cost $1,200 for your state, or you can get the whole United States or the world if you want to look at South America. But when you come to our site, you put in your state, you put in your county, and you can get right down to your county on which days will be wet and dry or which weeks will be wet and dry. Notice at the end of September, for this area, for Kansas and Missouri, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days in a row with a chance of rain. See that? And then it dries out a little bit. Then it dries out a lot. But this is the wet part of the pattern coming back, showing up in our data. Here, this red line is the frost line, or the 36-degree line. And more on that as we get closer to it. But notice how right around October 27th, there could be a frost or a freeze over Kansas and Missouri. So probably not before then. And it may wait until early November, and then it could wait till December 1st. You can see there, that would be weird. But look at that. That shows you the frost line. And then how much rain is going to fall. This shows 4 to 11 inches of rain, 4 inches of rain out west, 11 inches down in the Boot Hill. And this area really needs rain, so they're going to get some, I believe. And you can see that ends up being a little bit above average. Not only that, we could have snowfall. Here's a snowfall forecast from our data that I looked at this morning. It has no snow. This is between October 15th and December 31st. So by the end of the year, no snow still around Joplin, Missouri, up into the Lake of the Ozarks, but 8 to 10 inches of snow up near the Iowa border and another little spot out near Hutchinson. So we will see how this develops. But this is all on your dashboard as well. Snowfall and day-by-day snow when you go down to your county. All right, be sure to contact Bryce with any questions about the dashboard or our products. Bryce at weather2020.com. The new weather pattern is setting up. The new weather pattern is setting up here not about 4 weeks from now. I can't wait. I'm ready to move this pattern out. It's been frustrating for me, probably for some of you too. But the frustration cycle too. Every 41 days we're frustrated. All right, have a great day, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions.